from Finniston Farm by Enid Blyton. Julian and Dick leaned their bicycles against a gate and sat down. Below them spread the Dorset countryside, shimmering in the heat of the day. They were on their way to meet Anne and George, who were due to arrive with Timmy on the bus that stops at Finniston Church. The five were going to stay at a place called Finniston Farm, set on a hill above the little village of Finniston. An old school friend of George's mother was taking paying guests at the farmhouse, and had asked her to recommend visitors. George had promptly said she would like to go there with her cousins in the summer holidays. Dick looked at his watch. It was time to continue their journey, if they were going to be at the bus stop in time. They rode down the hill, and there at the bottom was the village. It looked old and peaceful and half asleep.
Let's find the church and the bus stop, Dick.
There's the bus coming, Julian. Let's follow it.
I saw Anne and George in it. Come on.
Hey, George! Dick! Julian! I'm so glad you're here to meet us. Can you take my suitcase?
Give it to me. Hello, Anne. How's my little sister?
It's lovely to see you again.
Hello, Anne. I'll take your suitcase.
Hello, Timmy. Good boy. Yes, I did notice you.
Hello, Timmy.
What about some ginger beer and ice cream? There's a shop over there that sells them. Come on.
What can I get you?
5 ice creams and 4 bottles of ginger pop, please.
5 ice creams? Do you want one for that dog, then?
There you are. He said yes.
Oh, well, here you are. 5 ices and your ginger pop.
Thanks. A toast, everyone. Here's to a happy fortnight to us all on the farm.
Whose farm are you staying at?
Finniston Farm. Do you know it?
Oh, yes. Up the lane to the right at the end of the village street. Are you staying with the Philpots?
Yes. Do you know them?
I know the twins there. The 2 Harrys. Not well. Nobody does. They never make friends. You look out for their old great-granddad. He's a one, he is. He once fought a mad bull and knocked it out.
Really?
Yes. But Mrs. Philpot, she's nice.
Good. Here's the money for our stuff. Goodbye. Well, shall we go and find the nice Mrs. Philpot, the unfriendly Harrys, and the fearsome great-granddad? Sounds interesting, doesn't it?
The 4 children walked down the dusty village street. Anne suddenly stopped outside a curious little shop with the name William Finniston above the door. She looked longingly at the antiques and bric-a-brac in the window. The others called to her to get a move on, and she hurried after them, determined to slip down to the shop one day by herself. They all went up the little lane, and soon the farmhouse came in sight. It was a big one, 3 stories high, with whitewashed walls. The 5 stood in the scrubbed stone entrance, and Dick spotted a wrought-iron handle hanging down in the porch. He pulled it, and a bell jangled somewhere inside. 2 children came up the hallway. They were exactly alike. Julian smiled at them.
Good afternoon. I hope you're expecting us.
Come this way. The Kiran's mother.
Oh, my dears, I'm so pleased to see you.
Hello, Mrs. Philpot. What a lovely old place. If you tell us where to go, we'll look after ourselves. It's nice of you to have us.
I expect your aunt told you the farm's not doing too well. I've some other boarders too, an American and his son, so I'm pretty busy.
Well, you don't need to bother about us. We'll camp out in the barn if you like. We're used to roughing it.
That might be a help. I've a bedroom for the girls, but I'm afraid you boys would have to share with the American boy. And, well, you might not like him.
We'd prefer camp beds in the barn.
And if there's anything Georgina and I can do to help you, just tell us.
I'm going to enjoy having you children here. The twins do a great deal, and they help on the farm too. I'll get them to show you all to your sleeping places. Twins!
Yes, Mother. Hello. What's your name?
Harry!
And what's your name?
Harry!
Surely you don't have the same name.
We called the boy Henry, and he became Harry. And we called the girl Harriet, and she calls herself Harry for short.
I thought they were both boys.
Harriet likes her hair as short as Henry's.
Funny how some girls want to be boys, isn't it, George?
Oh, shut up, Dick.
Twins, show the girls to the top bedroom, and then take the boys out to the big barn. They can have the old camp beds.
We sleep out there.
Hang on, we don't want to cause trouble.
There's room for you all in the big barn. Go on now, twins, do as I tell you. Take the four up to the top bedroom with the cases, and then out to the barn.
All right, twins. We'll carry the cases.
Here's the girls' bedroom. While they show you the barn, we'll unpack some of the things we've brought and bring them down later.
Right. Hey, look at the mess in that room across the passage. It must be the American boys' room.
Dick, look at the twins shaking their fists at that room.
They must have some sort of grudge against him. Let's hope they get one for us. Well, now for the barn.
The twins stalked out of the farmhouse and took the boys to an enormous barn. One of them pushed open the great door. Both boys gasped at the great beams soaring up into the roof, like a cathedral. It was as old as the hills, and used for storing sacks of meal. There were 2 camp beds in a corner of the barn. A shrill barking came from one of them, and the boys saw a tiny black poodle standing up.
What a tiny thing. What's his name?
Snippet! Come here, Snippet. He's very friendly. Come here, little one.
He's our dog. Give him to us.
All right, you can have him.
Look, why do you have to be so dumb? It really wouldn't hurt you to be a bit friendly. Let us sleep in your old room. We really don't mind.
We will all sleep in here. We'll fetch the other camp beds. Come on, Snippet.
Those twins make me feel peculiar. The way they act and speak together makes me feel as if they're puppets or something.
They're just rude and unfriendly. Oh, well, they won't get in our way much. Here they come.
Here are your camp beds. Tea's ready. We'll show you where to wash.
Thanks. We'd better be careful, or we'll catch their habit. Dick, look at the poodle stalking that jackdaw.
He settled on the poodle's back. The poodle's going mad.
Roll over, Snippet.
Is he tame? What's his name?
Nosy. He fell down a chimney and broke his wing. We kept him till he was well, and now he won't leave us.
Julian, Dick.
Oh, there you are.
No, Timmy, come here.
Take your dog away.
It's all right. He won't hurt Snippet.
Take your dog away.
All right. Come on, Tim. That poodle wouldn't be more than a mouthful for you anyway.
They all went back into the farmhouse and were soon sitting down to a wonderful tea. A loud voice suddenly made them all jump. A burly old man with white hair and a luxuriant white beard was sitting in an armchair near the window. Then a curious thing happened. Timmy walked slowly over to the fierce old man and laid his head gently on his knee. Then he settled himself down at Grandad's feet, and Snippet the poodle laid himself down between Timmy's great front paws.
Grandad's happy now. 2 dogs at his feet. Ah, here's my husband. Come along in, Trevor. Here are the visitors I told you about.
More visitors? Where's that American boy? I got a bone to pick with him. He tried to set the tractor going this morning, and I...
Oh, Trevor, never mind about that now. Come and have your tea.
I can't stop for tea. Oh, just a cup. And that I'll take to the dairy. I've got to go see to the milking.
We'll help, Dad.
No, you sit down. You've been on the go since 7 o'clock this morning.
Mrs. Philpot, let the twins go if they want to. We can help you.
And what's more, we'd like it. We can clear away and wash up.
See here, Pop. I want to come to London with you. This place is dead. Is that the Americans?
Yes.
Hiya, hello. Now, who are these folks?
We're 4 cousins. We've come here to stay.
Stay here? Where you gonna sleep then? This is a one-eyed place.
Shut up.
Oh, nuts! I can say what I like. Mrs. Philpot, I'll have a bit of that cake.
Can't you say please?
I'll have the same as Junior, Mrs. Philpot, ma'am.
Can I have an iced drink?
I'll get you some iced lemonade.
Let him get it himself, little brat.
Now, Grandad, don't upset yourself. Just have a nap.
No. I'm going out again. There are some people here that fair make me ill.
Timmy feels the same. He's going too. Hey, look at that big dog. Hey, you, come and have a bun.
That's my dog. I don't allow anyone to feed him except me.
Oh, shucks. Here, dog, catch, that's for you.
Come here, Timmy. My dog is not going to eat that. You'd better pick it up.
Pick it up yourself. Take that.
Ow! You beast!
Say, Pop, this dog's fierce. He tried to bite me.
He did not. But he might bite you if you don't do what I said and pick up that cake.
Now, I'll do it later. Here's your lemonade, young man. Thank you, twins. Go out and help Dad now.
Where have they gone?
To help with the milking.
I'll go and help too.
I'd rather you didn't, Junior. You upset the cows last time.
Oh, gee, that was because I was new to it.
Timmy, guard the door.
Get out of my way, you! Say, call him back, will you? Say, Pop, coming for a walk? Let's get out of here.
Sure, son. Come this way.
Thank goodness they've gone.
You go and sit down and have a rest, Mrs. Philpot. We'll clear up.
That would be kind. 20 minutes rest will do me good.
What are you boys going to do? Go to the milking shed?
Yes, we've milked cows plenty of times. See you later, girls.
After they had finished clearing up, George and Anne went out to the milking shed. The milking was finished, and the twins were driving the cows back to the field. Together, the 5 set off to explore the farm buildings. They were very old, some of them falling to pieces. The roofs had great Dorset tiles made of stone, uneven and roughly shaped. They went into one old barn-like shed stacked with ancient castaway junk. There they found a giant cartwheel, almost as tall as Julian. Then they came across a curious curved tool, still as strong and good as it had been 2 or 3 centuries before. They guessed that it was a scythe that had been used for reaping the corn. They went back to the farmhouse, and the girls helped Mrs. Philpot to finish preparing supper. Supper was really a very pleasant meal, for Mr. Henning and Junior didn't come in.
This is a lovely farm. We've been exploring those old barns.
Yes, they need clearing out, but old great-grandad, he won't have them touched. We did sell some of those lovely grey old tiles once, to an American, of course, and Grandad almost went out of his mind.
Oh, sorry. I don't know why I feel so sleepy.
You've set me off now. Well, I don't wonder we feel so sleepy. Julian and I set off at dawn this morning, and you girls had a long bus ride.
Well, go to bed as early as you like. I expect you'll want to be up bright and early in the morning. The Harrys are always up about 6 o'clock.
And what time does Junior get up? 6 o'clock too?
Oh, no, not before 9 o'clock usually. He and Mr. Henning like their breakfast in bed.
What? You don't mean to say you take breakfast up to that lazy little pest?
Well, they are guests and they pay well for being here.
I'll take Junior his breakfast. Timmy and I together.
That sounded like a laugh from Timmy.
Do you bet me I won't do it?
Yes, I do bet you. I bet you my new pocket knife you won't.
Taken.
Well, if you're sure, those stairs are a trial to my legs when I'm carrying up trays.
The children were really glad when the evening meal was cleared away and washed up, for they all felt heavy with sleep. They were soon all in bed, the girls together in the big, rather hard old bed, the boys in their separate camp beds in the barn. Julian woke first as the sun streamed into the barn. He looked at his watch. It was 7:30. Julian glanced across the barn and saw that the twins' camp beds were empty.
Dick, wake up! It might be 10 o'clock for all you care.
10 o'clock? Oh no, I didn't mean to be late for breakfast.
Calm down. I only said it might be 10 o'clock. It's 7:30.
Thank goodness for that.
I wonder if the girls are up. Ow, what's that?
It's Nosy, the jackdaw. He pecked your back. He likes you, sitting on your shoulder.
Ow, now he's pecked my ear. Here, Dick, you take him.
Oh no, he's taken my watch. Bring that back, you crazy bird.
He's dropped it. Quick!
Got it. I'll put it on. It's safer.
Right, let's go into breakfast.
Good morning, Mrs. Philpott. Sorry we're late.
That's all right. Help yourselves to breakfast. The 2 trays are ready for when the Americans ring.
This ham's delicious.
Ah, look who's here. Overslept, I suppose.
Where's Junior? Not down yet, I hope.
Should we let George take up Junior's breakfast? Don't throw the tray at him, will you, George?
I might.
Well, don't go too far. You don't want to make the Hennings walk out and leave Mrs. Philpott high and dry.
That's Mr. Henning's bell. I must make his coffee.
I'll take up his tray. George is going to take up Junior's.
Are you sure? That's Junior's bell. He always seems to think I'm deaf.
Bad-mannered little beast.
I'm going to take up that tray to Mr. Henning.
Oh, thank you, dear. He likes his curtains pulled too.
And does Junior like his pulled as well?
Well, I do pull them for him.
Get that pocket knife ready for me, Dick.
What's going on? Can't you bring my breakfast without... Hey, it's you! Get out! Pull the curtains across again. The sun's too strong. Here, put the tray on my knees, like Mrs. Philpott does.
Right. Bedclothes off. Tray on knees.
Ow! Oh, you spilled coffee on my arm. It's hot. Take that. Get this dog off me. He'll kill me, George. I'll tell my pop on you. I'm sorry I hit you.
You nasty, spoiled little pest. I've a good mind to leave you here all morning with Timmy on guard. But I'll be generous. Come here, Timmy. Leave that funny little worm on the floor.
I'll tell my pop about you.
Yes, you tell him. And I'll whisper into Timmy's ear that you've told tales on me. I don't know what he'll do.
You're the most horrible boy I've ever met.
Mrs. Philpott isn't going to bring you breakfast any more. I'm going to, with Timmy. See?
I don't want my breakfast brought up. I'll go downstairs for it.
Right. I'll tell Mrs. Philpott. Come on, Timmy.
How did it go, George?
You've lost your bet, Dick. And he doesn't want breakfast in bed anymore.
Good for you, George. Here's the knife. You deserve to win.
The twins had had their breakfast some while ago. They now came into the kitchen. Anne was in fits of laughter as George described the way she had dealt with Junior. The twins listened in amazement. They looked at one another, then walked up to the table. Only one twin spoke.
Why did you take up Junior's breakfast tray?
Because we were all so fed up with the way Junior and his pop treat your mother.
So George took his breakfast up to him to teach him a lesson, to be more considerate to your mother in future. Fancy you being able to laugh. Well, now you're talking to us, let me tell you, we think your mother is tops. We're all going to help as much as possible.
We hate Junior. He treats our mother like a slave.
His father's the same.
He keeps snooping out our old things and buying them.
It is nice to hear you talking properly. Now, would you mind telling us which is which? Well, don't tell Junior then. You can always tell me by the scar on my hand. See? I'm Harry.
Hello. That's nice to see you all so friendly.
Mother, Junior's not going to have breakfast in bed anymore.
Oh, why not?
The story had to be told all over again. Mrs. Philpot threw back her head and laughed. Anne and George insisted on washing up after breakfast so that Mrs. Philpot could go and see to the chickens. When she had gone, the twins told the five that Bill, one of the farm hands, had to go round the farm that morning, and he'd take the five in the old Land Rover. It was all arranged, and while they were waiting, Julian and Dick, with Timmy, helped the twins to repair the chicken houses.
Listen, Anne. That sounds like Junior coming. I'll hide.
Hey, where's that dog?
What dog? Snippet?
No, that great ugly mongrel, and that awful boy he belongs to.
Oh, you mean George, I suppose. Look over there.
Oh no, I'm off.
We shan't have much trouble with him in the future. That's the Land Rover. Come on.
Buck up.
Down, Timmy. Aren't the twins coming?
No, they'd be busy.
Hey you, wait! I'm coming.
Jump down, Timmy. Go to him.
Oh no! Call him off!
That's got rid of him.
Sensible dog, that.
The five thoroughly enjoyed their ride over the big farm. Bill told them the names of the great fields as they passed them. Name after name came from his lips, and it seemed as if the sight of the fields he loved and knew set his tongue going. At last the Land Rover came to a stop near the farmhouse.
Thanks, Bill. No wonder old great-granddad and Mr. and Mrs. Philpot love the place.
Aye, you all understand, don't you? That Mr. Henning, he raves about it all, but he don't understand a thing. As for that boy of his, that's what I think of him.
Oh, it's just the way that he's been brought up, I expect. I've met heaps of fine American children.
Well, that one wants a hiding, trying to ride on the nervy calves and chasing the hens till they're scared off egg-laying and stoning the ducks, poor critters. I'd like to shake him till his bones rattled.
Don't you worry any more about Junior. We'll keep him in order while we're here. Goodbye, Bill.
I'm starving. Let's go down to the village dairy.
Good idea. Come on.
That was a good trip. I somehow feel more English for having seen those Dorset fields.
I like Bill. He's so solid and real. He belongs to the land, just as the land belongs to him. They're one.
Anne has discovered what farming really means. Right, here we are.
Ah, so you're here again. Mum's made some macaroons this morning.
Great! We'll have a plateful, please. And a nice cream each.
How do you like it at Mrs. Philpot's?
Very much.
We've been all over the farm this morning in the Land Rover.
Did Bill take you? He's my uncle.
Yes, he was most interesting. Does he like macaroons?
Oh, yes.
Right. Put 6 in a bag for me. I'll give them to him in return for the ride.
That's right down nice of you. My uncle's been on Finniston Farm all his life. You ought to get him to tell you about Finniston Castle before it was burnt down.
Finniston Castle? We didn't see any ruined castle.
Oh, no, you wouldn't see anything. It was burnt right down. There's some pictures of it in a shop down the road.
Let's go and see.
I'll come with you.
All right, I'll settle up and we'll see you back at the farm.
Come on, George. I'd like to look at the horse brasses while we're in the shop. It's just here.
Why, hello, you two. Are you going in?
Good morning, Mr. Henning. Yes, we are.
That man and his boy. I'm upset. I'm always upset when people want to buy our beautiful things and take them out of the country. Now...
It's all right, Mr. Finniston. I just wanted to look at those lovely old horse brasses. We're staying at Finniston Farm.
Ah, then you've met my great friend, dear old Jonathan Philpot.
Is that the twins' father?
Oh, no, it's old great-granddad. I'm a descendant of the owners of the castle, you know, the one that was burnt down.
Tell us about the castle. I didn't see a single stone when we went round the farm this morning.
No, you wouldn't. Through the centuries, people have taken the old stones for building walls. It was a long time ago.
How long?
It was burnt down in 1192, Norman times. It was a Norman castle, like the one in this picture.
How was it burnt down?
Well, the story goes that it was attacked at night, and there were traitors in the castle itself who set fire to it. While the castle folk were fighting the fire, the enemy walked in and slew nearly all of them.
It's strange there isn't even a stone to be seen anywhere.
Ah, but that's where you're wrong. There are stones from the castle, all over the farm. But only great-granddad and I know where they are now. I'll tell you one thing you can see at the farmhouse, though. Have you seen the old kitchen door that leads out into the yard?
Oh, yes. That oak door studded with iron knobs, do you mean?
Yes. That door once hung on great hinges in the castle. You have another look at that door. Feel it. Look at the great knocker on it. Think of the old Norman folk who hammered on the door with it all those ages ago.
But, Mr. Finniston, if the castle was built of stone, how was it burnt to the ground?
As far as I can make out, the wooden floors burnt, and the great walls fell inwards and covered the base. Lord Finniston was killed, but his lady took the children and hid them.
Where?
It's said she hid them in the old chapel. Maybe she took them down a secret underground passage leading from the dungeons to the old chapel itself.
An old chapel? Is it still there?
Yes, it's a storehouse for grain now. And I'll tell you something else.
What?
The castle had cellars and dungeons. The fire only burnt down to the floor, which was made of earth, not wood. The cellars and dungeons can't have been destroyed. Are they still there, undamaged? What was down in those cellars? And is it still there?
Does that American Mr. Henning know the old story?
Not all of it. If he did, he'd want to bring men in and dig up the whole thing.
I think we'd better go and let you have a rest. I'll come another time.
My word! I just can't wait to get back to the farm and tell the boys.
Anne and George, with Timmy running in front, hurried back to the farm to find the boys. But they couldn't see them anywhere. So they gave up and went indoors to help Mrs. Philpot get lunch. Dick and Julian were helping the Harrys repair the chicken houses, and were having great trouble with Nosy the jackdaw, who kept stealing the nails. Lunch was rather a crowded meal, for everyone was there. Great-Grandad frowned when he saw Mr. Henning come in with Junior.
Ah, Mrs. Philpot, would it be all right if I bring a friend for lunch tomorrow? He's a Mr. Durlston. He's a great authority on antiques. You'll remember you told me you had a quaint hole in one of the bedrooms where in the old days people used to heat embers for warming pans. Now, I thought that
Ha! You thought you could buy 'em, I suppose. Well, you ask my permission first, see? I don't like this selling of things that have been in our family for donkey's years.
Now, Grandad, don't excite yourself. Surely it's better to sell things we don't need in order to buy things for the farm.
Why can't we sell them to our own folks, then? Taking them out of the country? They're part of our history.
You ought to be glad that a poor, run-down, backdated country like Britain has got anything to sell to a fine, upstanding one like America. Now
That's enough, Mr. Henning.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but that old man gets under my skin. All I want to do is to buy things you want to sell. You want new tractors. I want old junk, and I'm willing to pay for it.
Old junk? Huh. Do you call that great old cartwheel you bought old junk? My great-granddad made that more than 200 years ago. That wheel was made before the first American was born.
Now, Grandad, calm yourself and come with me and have a lie down.
I will.
A selfish, ignorant, rude old man.
He's not! He's...
Enough, Harry.
He's settled now.
We've had great fun with the twins mending the chicken houses.
Yes, I had a look when I came in. You're good with your hands, you boys. Fine work.
I wanted to help too, but they didn't want me. That makes it pretty lonely. Pop, can I come with you this afternoon?
No, son.
Oh, come on, Pop, let me come.
I said no.
Everyone was glad when the meal was over. As the boys left the room to go back to the chicken houses, George whispered to Julian that they had some important news. They arranged to meet by the chicken houses, but they didn't know then that Junior had overheard them. When the girls had finished washing up and set off to the hen houses, Junior followed discreetly behind, determined to learn their secret and get his own back for being left out of things. The boys and the twins finished mending the section of the hen house they were working on and sat down for a rest. George and Anne went inside and joined them. Junior crouched outside, his ear glued to a knothole in the wood. Between them, Anne and George repeated all that old Mr. Finniston had told them about the castle and the way it had been destroyed. Julian, Dick and the Harrys were fascinated. Outside, Junior held his breath so as not to miss a single word. Just wait till he told his pop about this.
What a night that must have been. Everybody was killed or burnt, I suppose.
No, the lady of the castle wasn't killed. It's said that she took her children to the little chapel near the farmhouse by a secret underground passage.
Where's the site of the castle? It should be easily known, because of the great mass of stones that fell when the walls collapsed.
No, they're not there now. Mr. Finniston said that over the years the peasants and farmers took them away to build field walls and so on.
I wish we could find it. Mr. Finniston says that the cellars and dungeons are probably still there untouched. It took so many years for all the stones to be taken, people had forgotten about the castle and the dungeons.
So they may still be there, with whatever was stored in them hundreds of years ago. There might be priceless things there.
What is it, Timmy?
Somebody's outside. Quick, open the door.
There's no one about. He may have heard the hens scratching at the door.
Thank goodness. I thought it might have been Junior.
Twins, Mr. Finniston told us that one of the things that was saved from the castle was a great oak door, iron-studded. Is that one of your kitchen doors?
Yes, that must be the door leading into the dark little passage. I wonder if Dad knows.
We'll tell him. Shall we go and look for the site of the castle sometime? If we found the cellars full of chests and things, do you suppose they belong to us? The farm belongs to our family and all the land around it.
Does it? Well then, perhaps anything on this land would be yours.
We might be able to buy a new tractor.
Let's go and look for the castle site now.
No, we must finish this job first. I suppose you haven't any idea where it might be, twins?
No idea at all. It might have been built anywhere on our land.
Probably near the top of a hill to overlook the surrounding land, and probably no more than 1/4 of a mile from the chapel.
Look out, there's Junior. He's grinning all over his face. What do you suppose he's been up to?
Mr. Henning did not come back that night, but arrived next day just before lunch, bringing with him a dried-up fellow, whom he introduced as Mr. Richard Durlston, an expert on old houses.
I'd like him to see that old door, Mrs. Philpott, and that strange opening in the wall of the bedroom upstairs.
Follow me.
May we come too, Mrs. Philpott?
Yes, of course. This is the door.
Yes. Quite genuine. A very fine specimen. I should offer £4,000, Mr. Henning.
Gee.
You'd have to talk to Great-Grandad. Now, I'll take you to see the opening in the bedroom. The opening is behind this old wrought-iron door. This tray was used for heating and holding the embers before they were put in the warming pans. We still have one warming pan, there on the wall.
Yes. Quite rare to see one in such a well-preserved state. You could make an offer for this too, Mr. Henning.
After lunch, Henning took Mr. Durlston to see the old chapel. The five decided to follow them, and soon came to a tall, quaint old building with beautifully arched windows set high up in the wall.
I'd like to buy this chapel, knock it down, and take it stone by stone back to the States. It'll be wonderful in my place.
I can't advise that. Not in good taste. Let's go to those outbuildings over there. Might see something worth having.
Let's stay here.
I like most Americans very much, but not Mr. Henning. He wants to buy history as if it were toffee.
Now we're out, what about having a snoop around for the castle site? It can't be very far away.
Right. And we agree that the site is probably on a hill.
Let's make our way up the nearest slope. Hang on. There are the twins. They might like to come.
Hey, Harrys! Come and help us look for the castle.
Coming. You've brought Snippet and Nosy too. He'll be a great help. Come on, we plan to examine this slope first.
All I can see is grass, grass and grass.
Look at that huge mound. A very large mole must have made that.
Oh, Timmy, you can't see a rabbit burrow without trying to go down it.
Snippet's just as bad. He's small enough to get down too.
He's coming out. What's he got in his mouth?
It's an oyster shell.
We're miles from the sea. How did it get here? Go in again, Snippet. Scrape away, Timmy. An idea is glimmering in my brain.
Look, they've got more oyster shells. Oh no, Timmy's got some bones.
I'm pretty sure this is an old kitchen midden.
What on earth's that?
A kitchen midden was the rubbish heap of the old days. Things like oyster shells and bones wouldn't rot away like other rubbish. I do believe we found the kitchen midden of the old castle. Now we know something very important.
What?
The site of the castle must be somewhere on this slope. Come on, let's go further on. Examine every inch of the ground.
The 6 children felt a surge of excitement. Junior, who was tracking them, stared in surprise from a nearby hedge. Now what was all the excitement about? He saw the 6 children spread out and begin to go slowly up the great slope of the hill.
Hey, what about this? Come and look.
What is it, Harry?
Look, see this big shallow dip? Would this be a likely place for a castle site?
Yes, I bet this is where the castle once stood. The only reason for this Great Depression must be that some enormously heavy building once stood here, and it must have been the castle.
It's not too far from the kitchen midden, is it?
No, just about right. I bet if we had the machinery to excavate here, we'd find the cellars, dungeons, and all they contain. What will our mother say?
Plenty. This might be the saving of your farm. Let's ask Bill if he'll lend us spades and things. We'll soon know if this really is the castle site.
Good idea. I'm so glad it was the twins who recognised the site. After all, it's on their farm.
Look, isn't that Junior running over there? He's been spying on us.
Well, he can't know much. He's just snooping, that's all.
But Junior did know all about the old castle, for he had overheard the children talking in the hen-house, and he did know what they had been looking for. He must get back to his father and tell him what he knew.
Pop, listen. I know a place where the old castle once stood, and there's dungeons and cellars underneath, full of treasure. The kids found the place, but they don't know I saw them.
What is all this, Junior? You don't know anything about castle sites and dungeons.
I do, Pop. They found an old rubbish heap that belonged to the castle. They called it
a midden?
Yeah, that's it, a kitchen midden.
Mr. Henning, this is extremely interesting. If you could get permission to excavate...
Oh, boy, can't you see the papers? American discovers old castle site, unknown for centuries.
Not so fast. Not a word to the papers, Henning. We don't want crowds of people rushing to the farm, sending up its price.
Well, what do you advise?
You should approach the young Mr. Philpot and offer to put down £5,000 for the right to excavate up on the hill there. Then, if you strike anything interesting, you can offer a further sum for whatever's there. Say, another £5,000.
Sounds pretty good to me. You'll stay here and advise me, won't you, Durlston?
Certainly, if you are prepared to pay my fee.
And so, that very evening, Mr. Henning and Mr. Durlston had a very private talk with Mr. and Mrs. Philpot. Agreement was reached, and Mr. Henning handed over a cheque for £5,000. When the twins and the four heard of this the next morning, they were astounded. Now what was to be done?
Listen, do you remember what you told us, George, about the lady of the castle taking her children to safety in the chapel by way of an underground passage?
Julian, do you think the passage might still be there?
What I think is this. If the lady and her children escaped underground, they must first have fled down into the cellars of the castle. So the passage or tunnel must have started from there.
So that means if we can find the secret passage, we can get into the cellars ourselves.
Exactly. Let's go down to the old chapel, take a line from there to the castle site, and walk slowly up that line. We might see something that would guide us to where the secret passage is. If we stand here by the chapel door, the line we should take is to where the men are already at work. I'm sure whoever dug the passage would have taken the straightest line they could to save work. Let's go.
I was looking for different coloured grass or something. It all looks the same to me.
We're nearly at the site.
And there's Junior.
Children not allowed here. Keep off. My pops bought this place.
Liar, you've got the right to dig and that's all. Ha, look at him run.
Silly idiot. Why doesn't somebody box his ears?
Let's walk slowly back down the same line.
Look at Nosy teasing Snippet. Oh no! Snippet's caught him by his wing.
Drop him, Snippet. You'll break his wing.
Snippet's let him go, but he can't fly.
He's gone down a rabbit hole. Clever old bird.
Snippet's gone in after him.
Snippet! Snippet, come here.
They must have gone deep down. Dad says there's a maze of burrows in this hill.
We'd better sit down and wait till they come back.
Right. Anyone got any sweets?
I have. Help yourself, everyone. Look at Timmy. They're coming, Timmy knows.
Snippet! Good dog. Come here. What's this you found? Some old bone.
Let me see. Bone? That's not a bone. It's a small carved dagger with a broken handle.
The jackdaw's got something too. Look in his beak. It's a ring with a red stone in it.
Snippet and Nosy have been to the cellars of the castle. The burrow must have led straight into the secret passage that goes to the cellars.
This is a bit of good luck. Look at the jackdaw trying to fly. His wing isn't badly hurt. Good old Nosy.
What happens now? Do we dig too and get into the cellars before that American does?
Will we be allowed to dig?
I don't see why not.
Why shouldn't we just dig? If Mr. Philpot stops us, we could tell him what we're really doing.
What shall we say if Mr. Henning asks us why we're digging?
Just silly things. Joke about it. Twins, can you find us spades, do you think?
Yes, we wish we could help, but we've got tons to do.
Oh dear, and I promised that George and I would help in the kitchen. Can you and Dick dig on your own, Julian?
Good heavens, yes.
Right. We'll get some spades for you.
Harriet soon brought the spades up to the boys. Then she ran off to join her brother in the farm work. Julian and Dick dug hard, and were soon very hot indeed. They greeted Anne with joy when she laboured up the slope with a jug of cool lemonade. They were enjoying their drinks when Anne looked up the slope.
Here comes Junior. Not too close, I see.
Hey! What are you doing digging in our hill? This isn't your hill, copycats. My pup's laughing his head off about you. Clear off!
He's gone. I must go too. See you later.
I wish this burrow would come to an end. The ground's so hard and dry.
Well, thank goodness it's getting sandy here. Dick! My spade went right down by itself. I believe I've come to the secret passage.
I'll give you a hand to widen the hole.
That's enough. Straight into the tunnel.
It's just over a metre below the surface.
It must be dinner time. I really don't like to leave the hole unguarded, now we've got down into the tunnel.
We won't have to. Here comes George with Timmy.
Hi, George. Look, we're down to the tunnel.
Wonderful! My word, if Mr. Henning knew what you'd found, he'd be down here like a shot.
He certainly would, or Junior. We're scared of going to dinner in case one of them comes along.
I'll leave Timmy here on guard. He won't let anyone come within metres of it.
Thanks, George.
On guard, Timmy. Don't let anyone come near that hole.
That afternoon, the twins, Julian, Dick, George, Anne and Snippet all climbed the hill to the hole where Timmy still lay, watching for intruders. They brought him 2 fine bones and a jug of water.
Can we go down now?
Yes. It would be a good time to slide into the tunnel. Everyone from the castle site has gone to lunch.
I'll go first. Anyone got a torch? It's pitch dark in here.
Yes, here's one. Catch!
Yes, it is the secret passage. No doubt about it. Come on down, all of you. Let's share in the fun together.
Right. I'm going to lower Anne down first. Give her a hand, Dick.
I'm ready. OK, Anne, I've got you.
Thanks.
Here come the twins. Now George, and Timmy, of course. Now stand by for me.
I reckon that's the way to the castle site.
Come on then. We'll go straight up and see where the passage ends.
Goodness, it is dark, isn't it? What's that? I don't like it.
It's all right. It's the men drilling on the castle site. They must be back from lunch.
I hope we soon get into the cellars.
Can't be far. We can hear the drill so loudly now.
Look, there's an old door fallen down.
We're there. It must be the entrance to the cellars.
That door must have been made all those years ago. It's crumbling to dust.
Let's go on carefully. Everything will crumble into dust unless it's metal.
Look, there's an archway made of stone. It must lead into the main chamber.
Let's go in.
There's an awful lot of jumble by those walls.
Any treasures, do you think?
Hello? What's this heap of blackened metal? Why, it's a suit of armour. Almost perfect still. And there are some more.
Would they be valuable now?
Valuable? Worth their weight in gold, I should think.
Julian, here's a chest of some sort.
Seems to be made of wood and bound with iron straps. Give me a hand, Dick. See if we can lift the lid.
The wood has crumbled.
What are those shining discs? Are they gold?
Yes, it's gold! No doubt about it. Gold never tarnishes.
Twins, your parents needn't worry about the farm anymore. They'll be able to buy all the equipment they could possibly need. Julian, there's another chest that's falling to pieces. I wonder what's inside.
Rings!
And a gold belt. And necklaces.
We found something too. Look, racks of swords and daggers.
What wonderful swords. Oh, my word, this one's heavy. I can hardly lift it. Good gracious, what was that?
An old beam has fallen in.
Out of here quickly. Those men will soon be through the roof, and it may fall and bury us.
Quick, Harry, get some jewellery. I've got some of the gold. We must show Mum some of these things.
We'll have to get this excavating stopped. If the roof falls in, it may destroy many of the old treasures here.
The 6 children hurried in the dark, low tunnel, feeling more excited than they had ever felt in their lives. Timmy led the way, glad that they were going into the open air once more. They came to where they thought the burrow must be, but instead there was nothing but a great mass of earth.
The burrow's fallen in, and we've got no spades to dig ourselves out.
We can use our hands.
No, Dick, stop. More earth is falling in. We'll be buried alive.
What can we do?
We'll have to go back up the passage and try and make the workmen hear us shouting.
That means Mr. Henning will know what we're up to.
I'm afraid there's no other way.
I don't think the men will be here much longer. They pack up at 5, and it's almost that now.
The drilling has just stopped. Thank goodness.
In that case, it's no good going back up the tunnel. They'd be gone before we got there.
Hey, Timmy, where are you going? Julian, look at Timmy. He wants us to go down the tunnel. Why didn't we think of that?
I don't know. I thought it would be a blind alley. Nobody knows where the chapel entrance to the tunnel is, do they, twins?
No, it's never been discovered.
Anyway, it's worth trying.
I agree. Come on, everyone.
Mind your heads just here. There's been a bit of a fall.
Thanks for the warning, George.
I've come to the end. It's a funny little stone sort of room.
Look, in the roof, a wooden square. It must be a trapdoor.
If we all heave together, we might move it.
Not a hope.
I know why we can't move it. There are sacks of grain and fertiliser spread all over the floor of the chapel. They're as heavy as lead.
I didn't think of that. Didn't you know of this entrance into the tunnel, twins?
Of course not. Nobody did. Well, what are we going to do now?
Listen, I can hear something overhead.
Give us a hand here, Bill, will you?
It's Jamie. The men are working overtime this week. Quick, let's all yell and hammer on the trapdoor.
Bill, can you hear that racket? What is it?
It's coming from over there. Let's have a look.
This corner here, Bill. Anyone about?
Maybe they're in that little old store place we found one day. The trapdoor was just about here. Come on, let's shift these sacks. Right. Now for this trapdoor. Who's down there?
Bless us all. That's the twins' voices.
Come on, Jamie. Heave up.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Bill. I am glad you were working overtime.
Oh, your ma's been hollering for you.
No, Timmy. Leave that cat and her kittens alone. Good boy.
How did you get down there?
It's too long a story to tell just now. Don't tell anyone we were down there till we tell you how it happened. We've got to rush and tell Mum we're all right.
There's Mum looking for us.
Mum, we're back.
Where have you been? You're an hour late for tea, all of you.
Sorry, Mrs. Philpott.
We're starving. Let's have tea and we'll tell you some great news. Where are Dad and Great-Grandad?
They're still at the tea table. They were late too. Out looking for you. What in the world have you brought with you? Surely those aren't swords?
Let's have tea first and we'll tell you everything.
Go and wash first, all of you.
Oh, must we? Very well.
We'll hide our treasures so Mr. Philpott and Great-Grandad won't see them till we're ready to show them.
Soon they were all sitting down at the table, glad to see such a wonderful spread. Great-Grandad roared at them all for coming in late. The twins apologised and begged him to listen to the story that Julian would tell and the wonderful news they had. Ready to fly into another rage, the old man listened to the children's story. Never had he heard such a wonderful, glorious tale in his life. Julian told the story well, and everyone listened in silence, until he described the things they had found in the cellar. It was then that Great-Grandad roared again.
Gold? Oh, I don't believe you. Don't you pile up your tale too much now. Stick to the truth.
We've brought some back in our pockets. There you are. They will tell you if we're making this up or not.
Are they really gold, Trevor? Will they belong to us?
I'm not sure. Might belong to the crown by now.
The crown? No, sir. It's mine. Ours. Found on my land. And put there by our ancestors. Yes, and I'll give old Mr. Finniston a share. So I will. He's been a good friend of mine for years.
We've brought back some of the jewellery too. Look, Mother.
Oh, it's beautiful.
There's lots more like that up there too.
Excuse me a minute. There's something else to show you. Come on, Harry. Here you are, Dad. Swords and daggers we found.
No, that's what I call a sword. Give it to me, young man.
No, Grandad, don't swing it around your head like that. You'll knock something off the dresser. I knew it. There goes my best meat dish. Now sit down, all of you. Let Julian finish his story. Great-Grandad, sit down.
It did me good to swing that sword. Where's the American? I might try it on him. Now then, go on with that tale of yours, lad.
Well, we came all the way down the secret passage until we came to a little chamber under the chapel. There was a great wooden trapdoor over our heads, but we couldn't lift it.
So that's where the secret passage led to. How did you get out?
We yelled and hammered, and Bill and Jamie heard us. They lifted up the old trapdoor.
I've never heard of it before.
No more have I. For as long as I can remember, the floor of that old chapel has been piled with sacks. Yes, even when I was a boy. And that's 85 years ago now. It seems like yesterday. I was playing in there with a cat and her kittens.
There's a cat and her kittens in there now.
Aye, little lass, and there'll be a cat and her kittens there when you're an old, old woman. There's some things never change, thanks be the Lord. Well, I can sleep easy of a night now. I reckon you and the farm will be all right, Trevor, with the money you'll make out of all those old finds, and I'll live to see the twins growing up and handling the finest farm in Dorset.
After all the excitement of the afternoon, the children felt lazy. George and Julian sat chatting to Mrs. Philpot. She told them that Mr. Henning had telephoned. He, Junior and Mr. Durlston were going to stay in a hotel that night. She also said that Mr. Henning had seemed very pleased with himself, saying that they had broken through to the cellars and that maybe a second cheque for £5,000 would be coming soon. Julian was horrified and implored her not to consider such a ridiculous offer. George agreed and suggested that Mr. Finniston from the village antique shop should be asked to value everything first. Mrs. Philpot thought that that was a good idea and decided they would send for him tomorrow. There was, however, no need to send for Mr. Finniston, for Great-Grandad had himself gone down straight away to tell the great news to his old crony.
Gold coins, jewellery, suits of armour, swords, and goodness knows what else. That splendid big sword. If I've ever lived before, that old sword once belonged to me. I feel it.
Yeah, you won't be allowed to keep all the gold, I'm afraid. Part will go to the crown. You'll get the value back, and the suits of armour and swords. Make a mint of money on those.
Now look here, William. We've got to get men digging on that site. What say we keep on the men that fellow Henning's got, eh? We shan't let him excaricate, or whatever it's called, any more. And see here, William, you'll be my adviser, won't you?
I will, old friend. Now go home now, and I'll be up tomorrow morning. I'll arrange about the workmen, too.
Oh, thank you, William.
Next morning, Mr. Henning and Mr. Durlston, with an excited Junior, arrived at the farmhouse at 10 o'clock. There was quite a company there to greet them. Old Great-Grandad, Mr. and Mrs. Philpot, the twins, of course, and old Mr. Finniston sniffing a fight. All the 5 were there, too.
Hi, folks. How's tricks?
Did you have your breakfast in bed, little boy?
Oh, shucks. Skip it, sister.
Mr. Philpot, it's my very great pleasure to say that I've been advised by Mr. Durlston to offer you a further cheque for £5,000. We are rather disappointed in what appears to be in the cellars, but feel it would be only fair to offer you the sum we suggested before.
I'm sorry about that. I hold a different opinion, and my adviser, Mr. Finniston, upholds me in this. We're going to excavate the site ourselves. Then, if there's any disappointment, we shall be the ones to suffer, not you.
Durlston, what do you say to that? Bit of a double-crossing, isn't it?
Offer him £10,000.
You can offer me £100,000 if you like, but I prefer to do the excavation myself. I will return the cheque you gave me yesterday, and I will pay the workmen.
But this is monstrous. What do you expect to find in those cellars? There's practically nothing there. I'll raise my offer to £10,000.
No, you listen to me. We don't want your money. No, sir. Offer me 100,000 if you like, and see what I'll say.
Right. 100,000 then. Done.
No. There's gold down there in those cellars, jewels, suits of armour, swords, daggers, all centuries old.
Don't hand me stories like that, you old liar.
Twins, fetch me the things you got yesterday.
Right, Great-Grandad. Here you are, Great-Grandad.
Well, what do you say to that, Jank?
Your opinion, please, Mr. Finniston?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I regret to say that, speaking as a well-known antiquarian, I do not consider that Mr. Durlston knows what he is talking about. The things on the table are worth a small fortune to any genuine collector. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I don't think there's any more to say. If you tell me what hotel you'll be staying in, I'll have your things sent there.
Please go, Mr. Henning.
I shall take my time and go when I am ready.
Seen this sword, Henning? The men of old knew how to deal with their enemies. They swung it at them like this and like that. Look out, Henning, he's mad. Come along before he cuts off your head.
You're right. Come on, Junior, run! Grandad, what's got into you?
Oh, nothing. I just thought that this sword was the only thing that would get rid of those fellows.
Now you put down that sword before you damage it. You and I will go down to the inn and talk over what we're going to do about all this treasure.
Very well, William Finniston. Lead the way.
Mother, whatever's the matter?
Now, don't take any notice of me. I'm crying for joy. No more money worries, and no need to take visitors.
Mrs. Philpot, would you like us to leave too?
Oh, no, my dear, no. You're not really visitors. You're friends.
We'd love to stay. We wouldn't want to miss seeing what else is in the castle cellars for anything, would we, George?
No, we wouldn't. This is just about the most exciting adventure we've ever had. Isn't it, Timmy?
Well, goodbye, famous five. Enjoy the rest of your adventures, and do make sure Great Grandad is careful with that great old sword.